So this is the Keychron Q8 and currently just launched for around $200 or around 650 Malaysian ringgit. This is the fully assembled kit right here. So we're basically going to be checking it out and reviewing it today. But before the video starts, I want to say a quick thank you to SunCycle for sending this over. Remember to check them out, links in the description below. So this is the box and it does have the outline of the keyboard in front. It's a pretty heavy box right here because it is a CNC aluminum keyboard. It's kind of heavy. I would estimate it to be around 4 to 5 kgs if I'm not wrong. So again, in front we have the outline of the keyboard, nothing much right here. We can see it's a 65% Alice layout keyboard and I do have the pre-built version right here. So it doesn't come with the knob, but you can choose the knob version if you want it. On the front, we have the name of the keyboard and we can see right here, I have the hot swappable version, which has RGB and comes with the brown switches. And this is the gray variant right here. There's 3 colors to this. There's the blue, the black and the gray. And on the back of the box, we can see the 3 colors offered right here on the right hand side. So you can see the blue, the black and the gray again. And on the left, we can see it's a 65% layout. It has dual compatibility, so it works fine with Windows and Mac. It has Q&K VIA, so you can actually customize the keyboard in a lot of ways with the software. It has a double gasket mount design, which we'll look into later, alongside with the screen steps and CNC aluminum body. And this is the pretty interesting part, which it has tape mode out of the box with this pre-built version. So we'll be taking a look at it later. Now let's unbox it and see what we get inside. So the first thing you get is this little card from Keychron telling you how to put in the switches for this hot swappable PCB. It tells you to be gentle and be careful with the pins. And you also get the Keychron Q8 user manual, which includes a lot of information about the keyboard. Besides that, you'll get a braided cable with Keychron branding on it, and it's actually a Type-C to Type-C cable, but don't worry, they also give a Type-C to Type-A adapter in the box. Some extra keycaps to fit your Mac or Windows layout, a bag of extra gaskets, screws and feet for the keyboard, and you also get more accessories under the keyboard, like this huge piece of paper which is actually the quick start guide and contains everything you need to know about the keyboard. And you can pause if you want to read it, but I'm just flipping through it in the video. And right underneath that is 4 more items, which includes a pretty nice keycap puller, a metal switch puller which I think is really hard to use, a really simple blue screwdriver, and a simple Allen key to open up the keyboard with. So that was quite a lot of stuff included. Now let's check out the keyboard. So this is the Keychron Q8 and first impressions, it is pretty heavy because it's a CNC aluminum keyboard, but it does look really nice in my opinion. We can see the 65% Alice layout right here, which is an ergonomic layout, so you do have the split design at a tilted angle. The CNC aluminum finish is pretty nice. I would say the edges are a little bit sharp, not really in my taste. I do prefer them to be a little bit more rounded, but it does look good and it is really clean. And on the right side, you can see the separated arrow cluster and these 3 keys right here. And if you want the knob version will basically be in this insert key right here. So you can just adjust the volume and everything with the knob. And this is what the side profile of the keyboard looks like. A really nice aluminum finish again, and you can see a slight increase from the bottom to the top to provide a better typing experience. And you can also see the OSA profile keycaps, which we will cover later on in the video. And this is what the other side looks like. It's basically the same, just you have your arrow keys here, and it might look a little bit different if you have the knob installed. And this is the front of the keyboard. You can see a slight curve right here to accommodate the Alice layout, and there's actually no branding whatsoever again on this CNC aluminum body. The top of the keyboard is really nice as well, and in the middle you can see a toggle to switch in between Mac and Windows, and you also can see the USB Type-C connection port right next to it. And this is what the back looks like. You can really see the CNC aluminum finish. It looks really smooth and nice. It does have like a matte texture on it, so you won't see any fingerprints. And there are 4 little non-slip feet right here, so the keyboard won't rattle around. And you also can see all of the 8 screws used to hold the keyboard in place. And plugging it in, we can see the RGB on the keyboard. It's really bright and saturated, no complaints from me. And it does have per key RGB, and it looks really nice on this keyboard. So moving on to the keycaps that came with this pre-assembled Keychron Q8. These are some OSA profile keycaps and they are double shot PBT keycaps. These OSA profile keycaps are actually built by Keychron themselves and they are pretty interesting in my opinion. It has a pretty similar height to OEM keycaps, but it also has a SA-like shape, so it's like OEM keycaps but a little bit more rounded and sculpted for your fingers. And the PBT used in these keycaps are pretty good with oil resistance, so you don't have to worry if you have sweaty pretty fingers, and they do feel really good with this matte texture on it. I really like how they feel, and the double shot is pretty sharp and clear, and the thickness is pretty good. I estimate this to be around 1.5mm in thickness. Overall, I think these are pretty interesting keycaps. They do take a little bit of getting used to, but if you're used to them, they do feel pretty comfortable in hand. And as for the switches, these come with the pre-loop Gateron G Pro switches, and my variant right here has the Gateron G Pro brown switches inside, so it's the tactile switches. But don't worry, there are other options you can choose from as well. And as stated, these come pre-loop from the factory, so they're really smooth out of the box. You don't have to loop them, and this saves you a lot of time. And as for the PCB in this keyboard, it is a hot swappable PCB, and it's really nice because it comes with south-facing RGB LEDs, and it supports both 3-pin and 5-pin MX style switches. And this PCB comes with QMK and VIA support, so if you want to fully customize it or change out everything like the macros and keys, you can download the software and you can do a lot with it. As for the stabilizers here, these are actually screw-in stabilizers, which are really nice, and I think that this is really good because they do come pre-loop again by Keychron, and they look and feel really nice. Honestly, I like these screw-in stabilizers, and they don't have any rattle whatsoever. And disassembling it was pretty easy because it's a gasket mounted keyboard. There's actually not much screws used in this build. The bottom of the case or the back plate should just come out easily, and there is this cable connecting the PCB to the daughter board, so remember to unplug it. And after that, you should have your 3 main parts of the keyboard. So taking a look at the PCB and the plate combo right here, which is all already installed, as you guys can see, it's really interesting to look at. You have this steel frame right here, so it's really stiff and rigid, and on the 4 sides or all of the sides, you can actually see the gaskets already installed, which are really soft and I really like them. And opening it up, you can actually see in the middle right here, there's an extra key on the PCB for you to put a switch in. Not so sure if you can use it or not because it does get blocked out from the top frame. And in between the plate and the PCB, I'm actually surprised to see that there's no foam or sound dampener included in this kit, so you can just see the switches right here holding in the plate and the PCB. And on the back of the PCB, this is the really interesting part. This is the tape mod included in the keyboard. It's basically just this sheet of tape-like material to reassemble the tape mod, and it's glued directly to the back of the PCB, so it may get a little bit sticky if you open it up. And a quick look behind the PCB, it actually looks pretty good, and it does use Gateron hot swap sockets. And that's pretty much what you get with this keyboard. The top and bottom frame is basically just the CNC aluminum, and it looks pretty nice from the inside, but that is all you get with this Keychron Q8 assembled edition. And with everything covered, let's move on to the typing sound test to hear how this keyboard sounds like. So I have been using the Keychron Q8 as my daily driver for the past week, and I gotta say I really like it, and I've come to really like this layout and this keycap profile. Overall, it does sound pretty good and it does feel good in the hand when typing for long periods, and for gaming it's a really nice layout honestly, and I really like it. It does sound pretty good out of the box because of the pre-loop stabilizers and switches, but the price is a little bit expensive, coming in at around $200 US or around 600 to 700 ringgit depending on the variant you get. It does come with a fully CNC aluminum body, so I think if you have the money to spend on it, you can get it. It's a pretty good keyboard and you can customize it as well. But if you're looking for a budget Alice layout, this is not the one for you. And of course, if you're interested in getting this Keychron Q8, links will be provided down in the description below. And I want to say a quick thank you again to SunCycle for sending over this keyboard for me to take a look at. And that does it for this video, guys. Leave a like on this video if you liked it, dislike this video if you didn't like it, subscribe to my channel if you haven't. I have even more keyboard content coming very soon. And as always, thanks for watching. Goodbye, guys.